Welcome everyone to our first video called Hasty Hebrew, a video course that's very unconventional, but hopefully will help those of you who would like to begin your adventure in biblical Hebrew. My name's Grant Luton, and I started learning Hebrew back in 1991 and after my first trip to Israel, and all I can say is no matter how much or how little Hebrew you learn, it will change the way you understand the scriptures, and it will grant you insight and appreciation into the holy tongue and into God's amazing word. Now, for this course, you will need the Hasty Hebrew workbook, which is available on Amazon, and you can look at the link down below. And if you have questions as you go through the course, you can feel free to contact me by just emailing me hastyhebrew@gmail.com. Now, this, as I said, is very, very unconventional. My experience has been that when people try to learn Hebrew, they'll get a Hebrew book and they'll start learning the alphabet in order. There are 22 letters, and they'll memorize the names of these letters in the order and the sounds they make. And after memorizing all of those 22 letters, and they still can't speak any words or read any words, then they have to learn the different vowel signs which go with the letters. And they memorize the names of these and the sounds they make. And then after they struggle through trying to memorize that, if they're still with the course, then they will finally learn to read a Hebrew word or two, but they're so worn out they never make much more progress in that. Well, you know, I am a retired public school teacher, and for 18 years I taught in the middle school, junior high school setting, and for 12 in the high school and some at the college level. And if anything, I have learned a little bit the skill of how to take the complex and make it understandable. And as I tried to work my way through various Hebrew grammars and textbooks, I became increasingly frustrated. It took me about 3 running starts before I finally got it. And after I learned to start reading Hebrew and enjoying it, I wondered why in the world do they write Hebrew textbooks the way they do. So I've turned all of that on its head. And we're not going to bother learning anything that will not directly help you read biblical Hebrew. We're not going to learn the alphabet in order. We're not going to even learn the names of the letters. We're not going to learn the names of the vowel signs. All that matters to me is, will it help you learn to read biblical Hebrew? And I promise you, if you stick with me through the first 3 lessons, then you will be able to pronounce any Hebrew word you find in the Hebrew Bible. And you can go on to learn what the order the letters go in, and the names of the letters, and the names of the vowel signs, and all those other things if you want. There's also a 4th optional lesson, and that material is also covered in the workbook. And in that lesson, we look into some of the intriguing things that are found only in the Hebrew Bible and in the Sefer Torah, the Torah scrolls, the handwritten Torah scrolls, and they are absolutely amazing, and you'll really enjoy that. But you'll need these first 3 lessons to be able to appreciate that 4th lesson. And that's as far as Hasty Hebrew is going to take you. Once you learn how to pronounce and read the Hebrew words, the Hebrew letters, then you can go on, and I'm going to recommend a really great Hebrew grammar book to you that will take you right where this course leaves off. And you can take that and begin just to fly and begin to read the Hebrew Bible on your own. Now, this is the kind of book you will get when you order the Hebrew workbook on Amazon. It has a special kind of binding on it. But I'm going to be using a spiral bound one that will lay flatter on the table under the video camera. Now, do not open your book yet. Do not open your book yet. I want you simply to focus just on the images, and then in just a few pages I will have you open your books and we will continue on. Now, on this page you see some very strange pictures. There are 8 pictures, and all you have to do is learn what these pictures are called. And when you learn these 8 pictures, you will know all of the Hebrew vowels. It's so odd. People often tell me that, oh, the hardest part of learning Hebrew is to learn the vowel symbols. And we're going to do this completely differently. We're going to start with the vowel symbols, and in 5 minutes you will have them all learned. I have taught this course several times before a crowd of people, and it's always a great deal of fun. And I always tell the adults that when you come to learn Hasty Hebrew with me, make sure you bring a child with you to help you, because children pick this up very quickly, and they often have to help the adults. So what you have to do is put all your language learning fears aside. All you got to do is look at some pictures and learn their names, and you will know all the vowels. So 5 minutes from now, you'll know the vowel symbols. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to point to a picture and tell you what it is. Now, first of all, this one at the top is a tongue depressor. And you know what it's like when you go to the doctor. He says, open up, puts the tongue depressor in, he says, say ah. When I point to this picture, you will say ah. And this is a picture of a man with his mouth open, and you see his epiglottis hanging down. And this is what the doctor sees, and the man is saying ah. So when I point to this, say it aloud, ah, ah. Now, if you have a study partner, you're going to learn even quicker, because it's really fun to do this along with someone else. You can challenge one another, drill one another, review the material with one another. So if you have a study partner, practice these as we go through. Now, one of the beauties of this video course is that you can hit the pause button whenever you want. And there are a few times as we go through, I will put a pause sign on the page, and I will leave it there for about 5 seconds. That means you've got 5 seconds to hit the pause button, and then when you are ready to resume, just hit the play button, and we'll continue on. So, when I point to this, you say, ah, ah. And here we have ape eyes. When I point to this, don't say monkey, don't say gorilla, say ape eyes. Ah, ah, ape eyes. Down here is a plate, and in the middle of the plate you see one lonely pea. I do not care for peas, and we use the vegetable, the pea, a few times in this course. And when you see this picture of a plate with a lonely pea, say, eat your peas, eat your peas. Ah, ape eyes, eat your peas. Ah, eat your peas. Ah, ah, ape eyes, eat your peas. Do we have those 4 learned? Of course we do. Now here we see a guy stumbling down the steps. When you see this picture, you go, oops, I fell down the steps. And you have to say oops, oops, I fell down the steps. Ah, oops, I fell down the steps. Eat your peas. Ape eyes. Oops, I fell down the steps. Ah, ape eyes. Eat your peas. Ah, oops, I fell down the steps. So good so far? All right. Here we see a nest with 3 eggs inside. All you have to say are eggs in a nest. Eggs in a nest. Oops, I fell down the steps. Eggs in a nest. Ape eyes. Eat your peas. Ah. Oops, I fell down the steps. Ah. Eggs in a nest. Eat your peas. Eggs in a nest. Ape eyes. Oops, I fell down the steps. Only 2 to go. This is a stop sign. And I guess I should color this in red here, because this is not a green sign, it's a stop sign. This is a blinking red stoplight. Now when you see this, you say nothing at all. You just take your finger and put it up in front of your lips to mean silence. So when I point to this, silence. Eggs in a nest. Oops, I fell down the stairs. Eat your peas. Ape eyes. Eggs in a nest. Ah. Eggs in a nest. Oops, I fell down the stairs. Ah. Eat your peas. Very good. And the last one, you can see this guy has an ice bag on his head. And when you see this picture, you say, oh, my head hurts. Oh, my head hurts. Maybe because he, oops, fell down the steps. Eggs in a nest. Oh, my head hurts. Eat your peas. Ape eyes. Ah, ah. Oops, I fell down the stairs. Ape eyes. Oh, my head hurts. Eggs in a nest. Eat your peas. You've now learned all the vowels. This time, as we go through the pictures, instead of saying ape eyes, just say A. Just take the first sound when you begin to say ape eyes and say that, A. Instead of eat your peas, just go E. Instead of eggs in a nest, let's go eh. Instead of oops, I fell down the stairs, just go ooh. And again, when you see the stop sign, you keep silent. And when you see, oh, my head hurts, just go oh. Eh. Ooh. E. A. Ah. Ah. Ooh. Ah. Eh. A. O. E. Okay? Now, if you have a study partner, you can go quickly. See how fast you can go and get these to where it's just immediately. Okay? Now I'm going to turn the page, and we have superimposed some dots and dashes over the pictures, but they're still the same sound. Ah, ah, ooh, eh, a, e, o. Now we're going to fade the pictures out a bit more to where the symbols themselves show up. And let's do this again. Ooh, e, ooh, ah, ah. Let's do that quick. Ooh, e, ooh, ah, ah. Now I know where the song came from. Ooh, e, ooh, ah, ah, bing, bang, walla, walla, bing, bang. You get the idea. Okay, let's continue. O, A, E, O, E, A, ooh, ah, ah. These dots and dashes are the vowel signs. These dots and dashes, and here they are again, all 8 of them, they go generally below whatever Hebrew letter there is. So here you can put a letter inside the box, and there's the oo. So you would say the letter and then add the vowel oo. You see, Hebrew is made up entirely of consonants, 22 consonants. And the person in ancient times who would be learning to read Hebrew would simply recognize the consonants and know where the vowel sounds would go in. But later on, in around 300, 400 AD, if I remember the dates, there was a fear that so few people were able to still read Hebrew that people would forget where the vowel sounds go. And so someone came up with a series of symbols to represent the vowels, and these symbols would go below, and this one goes above the letter. This is the O, my head hurts. That's why the dot is above. But this dot is below the letter. It's E, eat your peas. And this is silence. This means the consonant has no vowel sound following. You always do the consonant, then the vowel sound. the consonant, then the vowel sound. Let's take some practice here. Now what you can do is do this on a separate sheet of paper or just continue to watch. And if you want to, you can turn to page 10 and start taking some notes on this. But let's take some examples here. Let's start in the upper left-hand corner. Let's say I put the letter M in this box. So we know the M makes the sound, followed by the ah. So this would be the word ma. Ma, like, hey Ma, what's for supper? Now if we take an M with the vowel, and I could do this one as well, because these two vowels make the same sound for all practical purposes. We'll talk about it a little bit more. But let's say we have the M with the ah sound under it, and we put another M after it. Now remember, Hebrew reads from right to left, so I'm helping you get used to that fact. So now we have ah, so it'd be mom, mom. Now I know mom is spelled M-O-M, but we're only going by the phonetics, the sounds that are made. Mom, mom. How about this one? Take a T, put this flat vowel under it, and put an M afterwards. What would that be? That would be Tom. You do the consonant, then the vowel, then the next consonant. Consonant, vowel, consonant, vowel, consonant, vowel as you read from right to left. How about one more? We'll take a C, we'll put this vowel under it, and put a T at the end. Now, if you say cat, you're wrong. There is no ah sound in Hebrew. It's always ah. There's no ah. That's kind of an American thing. But this would be cot, like you sleep on, not a cat that sleeps on top of the cot. So this would be cot. K-a-t, cot. Let's move over here. Let's do a little practice with this vowel. So let's say we put the letter Y here. So what would the word be? Y makes a y sound, followed by the oo. It'd be the word you. Maybe one of the girls watching this is named Sue. Let's go on down to this one. And again, this makes the same sound as this vowel right above. And let's put an L here. So that would be the L sound followed by the ah sound. It'd be law. Law, like he practices law. How about a B with a vowel under it with a T at the end? If you say bat, that's incorrect. There's no ah sound in Hebrew. This is bot, like I bought this Hebrew book on Amazon. Here's an R with the vowel sign under it. And there's a B. That would be rob. Somebody robbed my book. Let's go over to the eggs in the nest. Eh sound. Eh. And we'll put the letter H in there. Like someone's laughing. Okay? Not hee. Like a sinister laugh. How about this one? We'll take a Y, put the eh vowel sounds, the eggs in the nest, eh, and put a T at the end. And we have the word yet. Y, yeah, eh, yet. Okay? Let's take this vowel here. Oh, my head hurts. Remember, he had an ice bag on top of his head. This dot goes above. The dot below is the E, like eat your peas. This is the O because it goes above. It's the only one that goes above the letter. So let's put the letter G here. So, ga, o, go, the word go. Let's try another one. How about if we take an M and put a dot above? That would be mo, like Larry, Curly, and Moe, or mow the grass. Let's go down to this. This could be any letter. I'm just going to put a question mark here. It makes no difference what the letter is. When you see the two dots, that's the stop sign, means silence. Usually, these are going to be used when you're going to take a consonant and follow it immediately with another consonant. Let's take an example. Let's say we go back to the letter G up here. And we put the two dots there, so you have the G sound. And let's follow it with an R, and then put dot above the R. G, row, grow, grow. It's not garo or go-row or gi-row. It's just grow. There's no vowel after the G. The G just flows straight into the R. Grow. Okay? Now sometimes there's a little eh sound there, a little short eh, because you can't help but do it. But and we'll see examples of that as we go through. So let's give you another practice here. Here's an S with a dot above. That would be so. And if we take an S with a dot above and follow it with a Y, what would that be? It would be soy, like a soybean. And let's do another. How about a T with the, oops, I fell down the stairs, followed by an M. And let's put the tongue depressor vowel under there. And then let's follow it with an R with another dot above. So we have tomorrow, tomorrow. One of the things I hope you can see from this is that Hebrew is a very compressed language. It doesn't take many letters to spell out a long word. Unlike in English, where we have lots of silent letters, silent E's, GH's, and things like that. Hebrew can be very compressed. You can say a lot in a short amount of time in a small space. Okay, we have two vowels left to go. Let's practice these. Here's our ape eyes, A sound. So let's put an S in the box. So this would be say. And again, you could put any consonant here. It could be a pay or a ray or lay or may. You could put any consonant you want, but you follow it with the ape eyes, the A's. So here's one. That would be may. How about this one? It would still be may, because a Y at the end of a word kind of gives it that E sound, may, may. And how about this? Day. See how it works? And one more. Here's the eat your peas. So let's put a H there. So now you have the word he as opposed to she, or he as in hee-haw, or hero. Now if I H with a dot and follow it with a T, now you have the word heat. And here's a boy's name, Pete. Okay? You can practice, if you wish, and take and try to make entire sentences using English letters and replacing the vowels with the Hebrew vowel symbols. So that way, when you feel completely comfortable with how the vowel symbols work, then you can move on. But we're going to move right on into the next page. And how about if we zoom in here? Some of you may have been squinting up to this point. So here we go. If my zoom button is going to work. There we go. And this should make it a little easier on the eyes. So at the top, there's a sentence. And as you can see, I've removed all the vowels. Can you figure out what the sentence is? You can pause the video if you wish, but I think most of you will get this very quickly. And it says, welcome to our first Hebrew class. This will be lots of fun. That's what it's like to read Hebrew. It's all consonants. Now see if you can figure out the next two sentences. Pause the video if you wish. Okay. If you figured it out, there's actually three sentences here. You're going to notice it's reading from right to left. And it says basically the same thing as the line above. Welcome to our first Hebrew class, period. This will be lots of fun. By the way, Hebrew reads from right to left. But I think you've all figured that out by now. Now, a lot of people think learning to read from right to left is going to be the most difficult part of Hebrew. Actually, it's the easiest part of Hebrew. And you'll find that it's simply not difficult at all. What will happen is when you go back to English, you'll be wanting to start at the wrong end of the line. But learning to read from right to left really is very easy, and you'll adjust to it immediately. So let's begin to learn some letters. Now ignore this for a moment, we'll come back to it. This is one of the glitches with this book. We are going to go to this page and then come back to the previous page. Now hopefully these all show up just fine. And as we did with the vowels, we're going to treat these as pictures. Now these are Hebrew letters, but I'm not going to bother with the names of them. Knowing the names of the letters really doesn't help you learn to read them or pronounce them. I'm not going to worry about the order of the alphabet. What I have done is in the boxes, I've taken letters that look similar and grouped them together. There's nothing more frustrating than learning the alphabet in order, and you come to this letter, which is the fifth letter of the alphabet, and then you come down to this letter, and it's the eighth letter of the alphabet, and you realize, wait a minute, it looks almost like the fifth letter. So now you have to go back and re-memorize this one to make sure you make a distinction between it and this one. And then, as you continue to learn the alphabet, you come to the last letter of the alphabet, number 22, which looks like this. And you start thinking, oh, wait a minute, that looks like number 8 and number 5. So what I did, I took the 5th and the 8th and the 22nd letter of the alphabet, put them all together in the box, and we will learn the sounds they make all at one time. So that way you won't be confused later when you see letters that look similar. All right, so here we go. Let's start with this letter at the top. Now this letter is a silent letter. So what I want you to do when you see this line coming across, take your finger and just put it in front of your lips. It's a silent letter. It has no sound assigned to it. No sign assigned to it, no vowel assigned to it. So if someone asks you how this letter is pronounced, you don't know. It depends what vowel is attached. Now let's back up a page. Just in case you're curious, this letter is called Aleph. It is the first letter of the alphabet, and it's a silent letter. Now in your books, each letter that's introduced has a line going across, and you can practice writing the letters on that line. There's also plenty more space in the workbook, in the pages later, where you can practice this. But when I make an Aleph, I always start with a diagonal line, and then I just make a line down, and then I put a little hook there. And that makes a perfectly acceptable Aleph. But practice to where you get fairly consistent and you're happy with it, okay? So you can practice doing your Alephs there. So Aleph has no sound of its own. It's a silent letter. But if you put the flat tongue depressor vowel under it, you just say ah. If it has this one, you say ah. This is eh. This is a. this is E, this is U, this is O, and this is just a silent letter at the bottom. So the aleph makes no sound. It is silent. But if there's a vowel attached to it, you just simply make that vowel sound. Okay, let's get back to memorizing our pictures. So when you see this picture, you take your finger and just put it in front of your lips. I'm not going to stick my face under the camera, but you get the idea. Now these two, the only difference between them is one has a dot in the middle. So we can think of this. There's a ball in the box. A ball in a box. When I point to this picture, you say ball in a box. When I point to this, you put your finger in front of your lips like you did with the stop sign vowel. Now this box is vacant, so you say a vacant box because it's void of the ball. Ball in a box, vacant box, and then silence. Silence, vacant box, ball in a box. We'll skip this one for a moment and come down to this. Now this letter kind of looks like flames, doesn't it? In fact, this letter, the rabbis tell us, is the letter of fire. And so it's made to look like fire. The only difference between the two, this one has a dot over the left-hand arm, and this one has a dot over the right-hand arm. So think of the word sushi fire. Sushi fire. Now you may be thinking, oh wait a minute, sushi is served raw. Well, mostly it is, but they also cook fish in some sushi, so some sushi is actually cooked. So when you see this, say sushi fire, because when the dot is over the left, it's a s, and when it's over the right, it's sh, s, sh. Sushi, sushi fire. Sushi fire, sushi fire. Vacant box, ball in a box, sushi fire. Now these three letters, which I mentioned before, look very similar. So what we're going to do is we're going to call this a heater vent. A heater vent. And you can imagine, like in the restrooms, you push the button to dry your hands and air comes up and out the front to dry your hands. So it's a heater vent. I point to this, you say heater vent. Ball in a box. Vacant box. Sushi fire. Heater vent. Now this is a clogged heater vent. You notice there's no opening up here like there is with this letter. It's clogged. But we say clogged, clogged, as if you're coughing a little bit. Clogged heater vent. Heater vent. Sushi fire. Vacant box. Ball in a box. Heater vent. Clogged heater vent. Now if the heater vent is clogged, then what you look for is a towel bar. So here we have the towel hanging down. Towel bar, clogged heater vent, clogged heater vent, towel bar, sushi fire, vacant box, ball in a box, vacant box, clogged heater vent, towel bar, heater vent, sushi fire. Now I'm going to point at these letters and be silent, but you say them by yourself. How did you do? Okay, if you need to pause or back up the video and practice those some more, or if you have a study partner, you can practice and drill one another and maybe have a little competition, a little speed competition. Okay, let's go down to this box. We have three letters, once again, that look a little similar. And for this, I want you to think of a vent pipe, maybe coming out of the roof or out of the ground. But this is a vent with a bent. A vent with a bent. As a bent vent pipe. Or we're going to say vent with a bent. Sushi fire, vent with a bent. Vacant box, vent that is bent. Ball in a box, clogged heater vent, vent that is bent. Towel bar, vent that is bent. Now this one has a foot to it, and so I want you to picture a guy going west because he's stepping out and moving from east to west. So guy going west. Don't say man going west or somebody going west. It's a guy, definitely a guy. If you want to say a gal going west, that's fine with me too. I'm going to say a guy going west. Vent with a bent. Guy going west. Sushi fire. Heater vent. Clogged heater vent. And I'm going to be silent and you then say the picture name. Okay? This is a zipper. You know, a zipper has a little tab at the top. You used to pull the zipper up or pull the zipper down, open and closed. So zipper, guy going west, vent that is bent. Be sure to say these out loud as I point. People in the other room might think you're a little crazy, but that's okay. You're learning Hebrew. Excuse me. Okay, we only have 3 to go. This is a dangling door flap. A dangling door flap. This is like the ceiling or roof of a house. You can imagine a very primitive house, and dangling down is the door flap. A dangling door flap. So that's what you say, dangling door flap. Zipper, dangling door flap. Okay, how did you do? If you need to pause and review these some more, go ahead and do that, but we're going to continue. You've all seen a pair of tweezers that you use. I should have brought some in. Tweezers that you use to pick up things, maybe to pluck your eyebrows with. Well, here's a pair of tweezers, but these are twisted tweezers. Somehow, one of the arms of the tweezers got bent, so we say twisted tweezers. Twisted tweezers. Okay, so one of them got a little bit bent around. Twisted tweezers. Dangling door flap. Okay, very good. How are we doing? We have 1 to go. And this will cover half of the alphabet. And then the second half of the alphabet we will meet in the next lesson. So we have 1 letter left. Now this letter is unusual. I saved it for last because it just looks like an apostrophe. It's the smallest of the letters. It just hangs from the top. It's the only letter that does not reach down to the bottom of the row of letters. So when you see this letter in a line, it's just hanging up there. This, I'm going to tell you right now, is a letter Yud. And when Yeshua said, not one jot or tittle will pass from the Torah till all is fulfilled, the word jot is referring to the letter Yud. In Greek, it's the letter iota, which is the smallest Greek letter. And when you say it's not worth one iota, that's because it's so small. So this letter, the smallest of the letters, is made just by basically putting your pen, pencil, quill pen to the paper and just making a little jot there. Maybe that's why they call it a jot. It looks like an apostrophe. Since it is suspended up in the air, when we see this, we say, yikes, a kite. So think of a kite flying in the air, and there's the tail of the kite hanging down. Yikes, a kite. Twisted tweezers, dangling door flap. Yikes, a kite. Okay, how are we doing? You've now learned all of the Hebrew vowels. You've now learned half the Hebrew alphabet. And as we did with the vowels, this time, instead of saying the names of the pictures, just say the first consonantal sound that makes up the name of that picture. So of course, this is a silent letter. Yikes, we just go ya, like a letter Y. Ball in a box is just ba. Vacant box is va. Vent with the bent is also va. This picture and this picture make a V sound. Vent that is bent, vacant box. S, sh, heater vent, just air. It's clogged. It's a sound. This is a sound you find in German and you find in Hebrew and a few other languages, but English speakers have to work at this, so try to do this without getting anything wet. Towel bar, like a T. Twisted tweezers, also a T. Two pictures that both have T sounds to them. T, T. Dangling door flat, of course, is a D sound. D. Guy going west is G. Zipper is Z. Z. V. G. Z. D. T. S. Sh. H. T. Ya. B. V. Okay, practice those. And you'll be getting more practice in the pages to come. And don't feel like you, unless you have these instantaneous that you can't go on. You'll be practicing these as we go. But if it takes you just a moment to figure out each one as you go, that's fine. Don't worry about it. You're getting it. Now down at the bottom of the page is our first Hebrew word. Now there are no vowels with this, but can you figure out what this word is? We have a sh and a b and a t. So what vowels do you think would go with that? If you put an ah vowel under each one, you'd be correct. It's the word Shabbat. Shabbat. Shabbat, which is the Sabbath, the seventh day of the week. So congratulations. We've been here for 45 minutes. I spent about the first 5 or 6 minutes just introducing you. So let's say 40 minutes, and you are now reading a Hebrew word without the vowels even. Shabbat. So when you're ready, Let's turn the page. And what we're going to do is take each of the letters we've learned, starting with the ball in the box. And I remind you here that that's the mnemonic that we use to remember this letter's sound. There's a line here where you can practice writing that letter. And on the facing pages, as we go through the book, you have plenty of room to take notes, plenty of room to practice your writing. You can use this right-hand page however you see fit. That's completely up to you. So what we're going to do with each letter is this. I've taken the letter and I've put each vowel underneath. And then we have English words made up with this Hebrew letter and the Hebrew vowels. But these are English words spelled out with English letters, English vowels. So if you pronounce the word correctly, you should recognize what the word is. So what we're going to do is practice this way. Ba, 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 bo, be, bay, ba, boo. Now you haven't forgotten your vowel signs already, have you? Let me zoom in a bit more and we can see this a little more easily. So here's our epiglottis, our ah. There's our tongue depressor, ah. Our stop sign, no sound, so it's b. There's oh, my head hurts, b, o, bo. Here's eat your peas, so b, e, b. There's the ape eyes, b, a, bay. They're the eggs in a nest, ba, e, be. And here's oops, I fell down the steps, ba, oo, boo. Now, here are 5 words, English words, and see if you can figure out what they are. So, take just a minute or so, and you can pause, and when you have figured that out, hit the play button and we'll come back. Okay, so let's figure out these words. This one is bob, like a man's name or something is bobbing in the water. Bobby, a boy's name or girl's name. Babe, baby, boo-boo. Okay, so we've made some English words using Hebrew letters, Hebrew vowels, and we're going to continue to add on. Now here is our vacant box. And as you make this letter, what you do is you just go over and down and flat line underneath. Now it's very important that this flat line sticks out just a little bit in the lower right-hand corner. There's a letter you'll be learning next lesson that if it doesn't have that little line sticking out, you could get it confused. So make sure you have that line sticking out just a bit to the right. And I'm sure your letters are going to look much nicer than mine. Now let's do the same practice. We have the letter with each of the vowels. Vo, va, va, v, vi, ve, vu. Now I'm going to mix it up with the ball in the box and the vacant box. So be careful when you see the dot or when it's gone. Ba, va, vo, bo, va, ba, vi, be, ve, be, be, ve, vo, be, ba, ve, vu, va, va. Practice those again if you need to, 2 or 3 times till you get very comfortable with mixing up the ball in the box with the vacant box. Now we're going to go down to our letter Yud. Remember the little letter that looks like an apostrophe? This letter works exactly like the letter Y, exactly like the letter Y. And for some reason, every time I teach this class, this letter confuses people more than any other one. I'm not sure why, but I'm going to move over here to this side, and I want us to look at how the letter Y works. Whenever you have the letter Y at the front of a word, it has a Y sound, like the word you, or the word yo-yo, ya, yo-yo, or like the word yacht. So when the letter is at the front, it has this ya sound to it, okay? And this is not a Hebrew vowel, I'm just underlining the letter. But when the letter Y appears at the end of a word, it doesn't have a ya sound. It only has that sound when you start a word with a letter Y. So if we have the word ma, what happens when we add a Y to the end? It doesn't become ma-ya, it becomes may, a. It's an E sound at the end. It has this E sound. Whenever Y is at the end of a word, it has that E sound to it. So there's may. If we take the word bow, when we put a Y at the end, it becomes boy, with that double E sound. If you take the word to and you add a Y to the end, it becomes toy with the E sound. But if you put it at the front of a word, it's ya. The end of the word, it's E. It's the same letter, but at the front it has one sound. At the end of a word, it has a different sound. This letter in Hebrew, the letter Yud, works exactly the same way. In the front of a word, it's Ya. At the end of a word, it's E. So, pay attention. You'll see this happening over and over again, and you'll get the hang of it. So, let's practice this with all of our vowels. Ya, you, ya, ya, y, ye, ye, yo. And now we have English words spelled out with the letters we've learned so far on this page with Hebrew vowels. So you can pause the video, take some time, hit that pause button, take some time, and when you are ready, resume the video. One of the things I meant to tell you earlier is do not write on these pages unless you're practicing writing your letters. Do all of your writing over on the right-hand page. Do not write the English words under these because you'll always rely on that. If you want to write out the English words that these are representing, write them over to the right and not on this page. So let's take our English words and let's see if you got them right. Bay, baby, Bobby, buy, as you buy something at the store, boy, ba-o with a Y sound at the end, boy, bye-bye, and notice I used the two vowels that both have the ah sound, and yo-yo. How did you do? I bet you're doing better than you give yourself credit. Let's turn the page. When you are ready, let's continue with the next letter. Now remember, this is our tau bar letter, and you can practice writing this. I always come down and to the left. Very important you have that. Make sure your letters connect at the top and then down. So down to the left and over and down. And that gives you the letter Tav, which is the last letter of the alphabet. So let's practice it now with all of our vowels. To, tu, ta, ta, t, te, te. And now I have English words. And notice as we get more letters, we can create more words. So go ahead and work on those. But let me give you a heads up. The last 3 words on the second line, these last 3 words are actually Hebrew words. And they're Hebrew words you may have heard before, maybe not. So but don't worry if they don't sound like familiar English words to you, because they're not English words. So I just want to let you know these 3 are actually Hebrew words. So let's take a time out, hit the pause button, and resume the video when you're ready to hear how these words are pronounced. Okay, here we go. We're going to start right here with our first word, tot, bot, tube, vote. Did you catch the vacant box there? It does not have a dot in the middle, so it's a V sound. Vote, boat, toy, bait, bet, Betty, like the girl's name. TB, like the disease. TV, which can also be a disease. Vet, abet, like if you assist someone in a crime, which I hope you won't, that's called abetting, abet. And then our 3 Hebrew words. The first one is av. This is a word that means father. Av. And maybe you've heard the word Abba. Abba is made with these 2 letters, with a 3rd letter. Abba means daddy. And it's very common to hear a little boy refer to his father as Abba. Av, father. Abba, and there we have the word for daddy. Avi, which means my father. So we have the av, the aleph, and the bait at the beginning of each of these words. Av, Abba, Avi. Let's continue with our next letter when you are ready. Now remember, we have 2 letters here, or they're actually the same letter, but the dot can go over the right arm or the left arm. Our sushi fire, if the dot is over the left arm, it's an S sound. If it's over the right, it's SH. Shh. So this is the sh sound. Let's practice with our vowels. Shu, sha, sha, sh, she, she, she. We have now 5 English words. Well, the last one's not an English word. This is a Hebrew word, but it's one you've already learned. So take a moment, figure these out. Okay, we'll continue. Sheave, shot, shy, shush. Like sometimes, some people say shush or shush, shush. And this is our word Shabbat, which we learned earlier, but now we have the vowels underneath. Shabbat, Shabbat. And now we continue with the letter that makes the S sound. Let's practice it with the vowels. Su, sa, s, si, se, se. And now we have 6 words. These are all English words. So we'll take a time out for you to figure out what those words are, and then we'll come back. Okay, we're back. Let's figure out these 6 words. Here we have the word cease, like to stop something, cease. Sushi, there's the S and the SH, sushi, sushi. Shoes, all we did was we took the dots and reversed them. So this is the sh, oo, and the s, shoes. Sob. This is what you might do if you lose a shoe. Boss. Sauce, like you put hot sauce on your food. We continue. Same pattern as we've done with the other letters. This is our guy going west. Our guy going west. I always write this by starting with a long line and then just a little line here, little bend at the top, and then a foot stepping out to the left. So let's practice it with all of our vowels. Ge, ge, gi, g, ga, ga, gu, go. And now we have a lot of English words here for you to figure out. So we're going to pause once again. You can pause the video. When you're ready to resume, press the play button. And we continue. Here are our English words. Goat, goatee, guy, goo-goo, that's baby talk, goose, ghost, geese, shoot, get, gay, bog, vogue, like the magazine, beget, gosh, gate, boost. And here's a good example of that stop sign vowel. We have the ball in the box with the oo, oops, I fell down the steps, followed by the S, but no vowel after that. Boost. Then you add the towel bar, the T on the end. Boost, boost, boost. Boast, toast. And now we continue with the dangling door flap letter. And with this is a very simple letter to make, but a caution. Make sure you have a very sharp corner right here. We'll be coming to a letter in our next video that has a rounded corner. It's a completely different letter, so it's very important to make a very sharp corner there. And if you even let the horizontal line overlap a tiny bit, that's perfectly fine. So you do it like that. Do not round it like this. That would be wrong. So we'll practice with our vowels. Da, do, do, da, da, di, de, de, d. And then we have some words for you to solve. One caution, this vowel, the oos vowel, it should be right under the dangling door flap, not under the yud. My word processor pushed it to the right a little too far, but it goes after the dangling door flap to make a do syllable. So take a moment, and I'm going to pause the video. Okay, let's resume. Let's figure out our words. Body, abode, doobie-doo. I had to take a second for that one. Doobie-doo, dot, dog, bead, and dude. Now we're really getting into an area where we get to practice real Hebrew words. And of course, unless you are familiar with hearing Hebrew or with hearing Hebrew prayers or hearing scriptures read, you may not recognize any of these words. but practice saying them knowing that you are reading real biblical words. So we're going to pause while you figure those out, and then when you think you have them, then we'll come right back. Okay, let's go through these. The first line, avad, ibad, adash, ba'ish, ishi, ba'ash, bagad. And you may notice I put the accent on the last syllable. This is standard practice in Hebrew. Almost always, the accent will go on the last syllable of a word, but there are exceptions. And we'll run into a few of those, I think, right here in this list. But let's continue with line 2. Ba, and many times this word is pronounced bo. Remember I told you that the vowels, the T-shaped vowel and the flat vowel, even though we pronounce them both as ah, sometimes this T-shaped vowel has a sound somewhere between an ah and an o. And I'm not sure exactly how you capture that, but it's assumed that in ancient times this had a little bit more of an o sound to it. So bo, bo. Not quite ba, not quite bo, but ba, bo. And there is a Torah portion in Exodus called bo. And this word means to go. And it's where God tells Moses to go to Pharaoh. But what's interesting, the word also means come. So it simply means take off, get going. Whether you're going from one place or coming to another, it's the same thing. So it's the word bo. We continue. Bata, bati, bat. This word, bat, is the word for a daughter. And maybe you've been to a bat mitzvah. This is where a young lady becomes a woman, and she reads from the Torah scroll and recognized now as a woman. Bat, that means a daughter, and bat mitzvah means daughter of the commandment. Gog. I'm sure you've heard of Gog and Magog. Well, there's the name Gog. Gadad, Gadi, Tavi. Line 3. Tashav, Shavit, Shabbat. And there's our word again, Shabbat. Bashabat. Bashabat means on the Sabbath, on the Shabbat. When you add this letter, it means in or on or with. So we'd normally translate this on the Shabbat. Bashabat. Shav, bait. This word is a Hebrew word that means house. And when you see the name Beth-El, which means house of El, house of God, it's technically translated Beit-El. Or the word Bethlehem, it's actually Beit Lechem. 2 words, Beit Lechem, house of Lechem, house of bread. And we're nearing the end of our list of letters. But let's continue with our heater vent. And this says hand dryer, but I kind of stick with a heater vent since that's what most people like best. So here we practice with our vowels. Ho, hu, ha, ha, he, he, he. And then let's take a pause while you figure out the rest of these words. A heads up though, this is a Hebrew word right here. So don't expect that to sound familiar in English. And we'll hit the stopwatch, take a break, and you can resume when you're ready. Okay, let's try our words. This one's pretty easy. Ho, ho, ho. Hobbit or hobbit. I know it has more of an E sound, but I was trying to get the word hobbit there, hobbit. So you have to fudge that just a little bit. Hot. Who, as in who is he? Hoot. Boo-hoo. Hey, you. I put a dash there, it's 2 words. Hey, you. Voodoo. Hobo. Hog. And then our Hebrew word, Haggadah. Haggadah. If you've ever been to a Passover Seder, you probably were given a small book or pamphlet that you go through, a booklet, as you go through the service, and that booklet is called a Haggadah, which means the telling. And then we have hot shot, hot shot. And then we come to our clogged heater vent, or a clogged hand dryer, as it says here. And for this, you come straight down, make sure it connects at the top. Whereas with the one above, you come down and you must leave that little gap at the top. So, straight down, connect, and down. And you can round that corner or leave it sharp, makes no difference as long as those 2 lines are connected. So with our vowels, we have cho, che, che, chi, cha, cha, hu, ha, cha, hu, he. Now, I haven't made any words since in English we just don't have words that use this letter. In German, there are a lot of words, but I don't know German, and I'm guessing you don't either. But let's continue with the second line. Chi, he, che, he, ho, cho, cha, ha, ha, ha. So I mixed up a lot of the heater vents and clogged heater vents on this one. And if you need to pause and go over those a few more times, go over them forwards and backwards, do that till you're comfortable and are very comfortable distinguishing between the 2 kinds of letters. And now we continue with our vent that is bent. With our vowels, vu, va, v, vi, ve, ve. Now let's take a moment as we figure out the letters, or the words, I'm sorry, the English words at the bottom. So we will take a break. Okay, how did you do? Let's see. We have heave, behave, cave, and I was trying to do the word cave there, but had to fudge just a little bit. Cave, and this would also be cave, cave. That yud in the middle doesn't really affect the pronunciation. And cave again, these 3 all sound alike. Shave, gave, shade, and voodoo. And now we're on our last page of letters, just 2 letters to practice now. And this is our zipper, has the Z sound. And for this, I just put a vertical line with a little tiny angled crosshatch. It's hard to do this without making it look like the letter T, but just put a little bit of an angled line and you're good. So let's practice it with our vowels. Z, 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 za, za, zoo, zo. And now we have English words. So we will pause for a moment. If you need to give your brain a coffee break, feel free to do that. And we'll resume when you're ready. Okay, our English words. Tease, zeet. Well, I was actually trying to do zit, which isn't very nice, but we'll give that, if you give that little I sound instead of an E sound, you'll get there. Again, we're fudging just a little bit, but I had to have a little fun with you. Haze, hazy, and there you see the effect of the yud, just like a letter Y. Haze becomes hazy. Bows, like the speaker system. Whose, like whose is that? Hose. And hosed, like you hosed down the car. Hose, there's our stop sign. Just add the consonant to the end, hosed. It's hard to think of a lot of English words that use the Z sound. Now the following are real Hebrew words. And again, some of these you may recognize, most of them I'm sure you won't. But take some time now, and when you are ready, we will continue. Okay, let's try these. First line, aviv, baviv, gaviv, aviv. Now that's may sound the same as the first word, but you notice this is spelled with a different final letter, but it's still pronounced aviv. Av, and that's our word for father, if you recall. Ata. I want to pause here on this word for just a moment. This is the word that means you if you're speaking to one man, to a male, ata. And if you're familiar with the Hebrew blessings, many of them begin with Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu. Baruch means blessed. Baruch atah means blessed are you, atah, referring to God. Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai our God. Blessed are you, O Lord our God. Atah is you when speaking to one man, atah. Ezah, ega, eva. And then we have line 2. Ach, he, habat, habet, he's, heave, Hit, Hiva, Gadish. And line 3, Hadish, Chadish, Hadish. And this word and the first one are pronounced the same, though this has a yud. Just a different spelling, but the same pronunciation. Beit, there's our word for house again. Hate, chet. And then our last letter for the video. And you will have learned the one half of the Hebrew alphabet. So let's practice it with the vowels. Te, ti, t, ta, tu, to. So take a moment, pause the tape as you work on the English words that follow, and I'll meet you back here when you're ready. Okay, let's figure out our English words. Toot, like you toot your horn. Toot, same word. We have 2 letters that make a T sound. I just reversed them here. Hoot, tube, boot, shoot, goat, boat, dote, toad, bait. And now we're on the last page of lesson 1. And if you've made it this far, which I'm sure you have, you can pat yourself on the back. This is quite an accomplishment. And to think we've done it in one lesson and you're reading real Hebrew words. Now, I know you don't understand most of these words, but those are things you can learn as you go. And in fact, a little something to whet your appetite. By the end of the next lesson, you'll be reading the first 5 verses of Genesis. And you'll be understanding many of those words because I'll give you some basic vocabulary to help you out. So take some time. These are real Hebrew words once again. And practice those. And we will pause the video right here. And when you are ready, you may resume. Okay, line 1. Aviv, ahev, az, ach, aid, aish. Aish is the word for fire. Maybe you're familiar with the website aish.com, and that's the word for fire. Line 2. Baz, bizah, batach, gave, bait. Line 3. Gav, gadish, geha, gaze, giza, gazez. Line 4. Diba, daga, ata. There's that word for you once again. Dash, date, David. I'm going to pause there for a moment. David is David's name. And in Hebrew, there are no vowels once again, so it's just like DVD, dalet, vav, dalet, da, v, da, David. But with the vowels, you can see how it's pronounced. We say David, but in Hebrew, it's David. Line 5, he, ha'av, chadid, hav, habet, haga. Line 6, zavach, zibach, zahav, which is the word for gold. Maybe you've heard of Yerushalayim shel zahav, Jerusalem of gold, zahav, gold. Ziv, zavat, zavad. Zaid, chibesh, chagav, chad, ta, chag. Chag is the word for a festival, Maybe at the end of a holy day that people will say, Chag Sameach, happy holiday. Well, there's the word for chag, which means festival. Kita, chite, chatat, which is the word for sin. Chashav, chadash. And if you read the New Testament, you read the Brit Chadashah. Chadash means new. Brit is covenant. So Brit Chadashah means new covenant. And I've given you space here now so that you can make up English words, spell out English words rather, using Hebrew letters and vowels. If you have a study partner, you can each do this separately and then trade books to see if you can figure out the words that the other person is making. I hope you've enjoyed this lesson. We've accomplished quite a lot. We have half the alphabet under our belts. We have all the Hebrew vowels. We've been practicing saying some real Hebrew words and learning just a few of them, their definitions along the way. But next video, we will continue. We'll get the second half of the alphabet, and then we'll really be ready to fly. So I look forward to you coming back, and you can subscribe to the button below so when the next video is ready, you'll get a signal for that and you'll know to dig right in. So thank you for joining us for Hasty Hebrew video number 1.